Don't mind us, we're just getting into shot. Hey, everybody.
Hey,
Life is great.
it is. We're here in Louisville together.
We are here in Louisville together, and we've been speaking at the Innovate Summit today about things that we love, things that get us excited, the brain, stories,
always.
leadership. And along the way, there have been a couple of things that have stood out. Horses, I love them. Bourbon
Bourbon and horses.
I had to cue her for her prop a few times. I was surprised actually, and also just across the way from where we've been speaking, the Muhammad Ali Museum, where the greatest of all time. There's a center where people come and get inspired and excited, and he's somebody who I just think is absolutely incredible. So I was excited to pop over and pick up a little bit of merch and see his Rolls Royce. And it occurred to me that one of the most delightful things about this trip and about this summit is being around people who are excited, where there's excitement, there is inspiration, and that there's something about the power of that when it is often unexpected, when it is something that people can coalesce around. And how does it actually work to drive us forward? And how can we access it and use it? That I was curious about, because I get excited about pretty much everything. Like,
You do. It's true.
It's true. Like, it's one of the things that I think has probably been why I've been a journalist for most of my life, has been because I find a lot of stuff really interesting. Yeah, and I think we share that, right?
We do. I, as you have seen, will be walking around downtown Louisville, and there are these beautiful historic signs, and inevitably, I have to stop and read every historic sign marker and take a photo.
She loves historical signs, maps.
I do love maps.
You do love a map?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, we go into the Muhammad Ali gift shop, and I am like, oh my gosh, I want a t-shirt so I can feel like Muhammad Ali. And you're like, look, you can read this pamphlet about his life.
Look, there's a walking tour with a map.
But we all get lit up by different things, and it leads us to different things. And I don't know, I think there's something really interesting about that. And so I suppose the question for me is, what is it that is happening for somebody like me who tends to get that a lot? Because one of the things I thought was interesting was like, oh, I didn't know this was so important. I don't know that this is or was.
Yeah.
It's just that I am someone who can get that a lot.
So did you feel that before going into the gift shop, or did it just amplify as we were there?
Oh, it was the moment I walked in. I was like, yes, this is exactly what I was hoping for. But I wasn't thinking, oh, thank goodness I planned it. I didn't think this was definitely, it wasn't something I was looking for.
Was it on your Louisville list?
No. So I think you thought maybe it was on my Louisville list, but it wasn't. But you just thought that my level of excitement meant
that it was on your Louisville list.
No, I just get that excited.
I love it.
So my curiosity is, what's happening in my brain?
Well, you just answered it. It's your curiosity.
Tell me more.
So that's the really interesting thing. So a couple of things happen. First of all, one of the things that incites excitement is novelty, right? When something is new, it tickles our brain a little bit, because our brain really is good at prediction, right? Predicting what's going to happen, predicting the future, predicting people's behaviors. But when something's new, we can't predict it because it's new. And that is exciting to us. And that means our brain's attentional networks bubble up and sizzle a little bit, get a little bit excited, a little bit more active. We start noticing things, paying attention to things. And then we start asking ourselves questions and engaging in curiosity, which we both love.
We love it.
And that curiosity just further amplifies that excitement.
What happens when curiosity is activated? So what happens in somebody like you or myself, or the people who've come to this conference, who are the kind of people who want to be in a room where lots of cool stuff is being talked about? What does curiosity feed? What are the neurotransmitters going off?
Well, before we get to neurotransmitters, let's get to what's actually happening in the brain. So when something happens and our brains have already predicted it, can make sense of it, it's not new, it just, it hums around and it's not that exciting. When something happens that's new, that's novel, that's interesting, that's exciting, our brain's router, which we've talked about before, takes that information.
What is it?
It's the anterior cingulate cortex, but
Yes.
you can just call it the ACC.
ACC,
baby, your brain's router. So the ACC takes in that information and routes it, instead of to your memory networks that already have experience of something, routes it to your prefrontal cortex.
Right.
And your prefrontal cortex loves chugging on new things. It loves learning. It loves asking questions. It loves exploring things. It wants to know about things and make decisions about things. And so it really gets that large part of your brain right in the front, going and excited and wanting to learn more.
Right. But my question is, what do we get from that?
Oh, what's
that was
the result of that?
That was my question, right? You were answering the technical bit. I'm asking, what's the reward?
The reward for
I jumped ahead on the neurotransmitters in a shocking turn of events.
You did. And can you guess what one of the rewards is going to be?
I'm going to let you take it. I think I know.
It's going to be a good old-fashioned dopamine squirt. That's right. So as we know, dopamine is a neurotransmitter that bathes our brain and feel-good kinds of sensations. And so when we're excited about something, and then we're curious, and that tickles our excitement a little bit more, then we get a dopamine hit, a dopamine reward. And the really cool thing is that dopamine hit, that dopamine squirt, actually triggers your brain's intrinsic motivational system to ramp up and get going, which makes you want to learn even more.
Okay, so I just want to slow down because that was a lot of learning. You just packed a lot of learning into those first few minutes. So everyone,
that was a lot.
It was a lot. So have a sip of bourbon. Have a sip of bourbon, which gets you excited. And I'm going to give it back in the excitement for dummies. So excitement for dummies is somebody like me, somebody like Heather, who sees something new and novel. My brain's been I do this all the time. And then I'm like, but I don't go to the Muhammad Ali gift shop all the time. And then my router and a bunch of other parts, including the ACC, get involved. And it starts to light things up. Different things get lit up. Different things get processed. Different things start happening. And then that starts to give me the pew, 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 pew.
Pew, 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 pew.
Dopamine squirts. And that then encourages me to motivate and get going.
Absolutely.
So the same way shop that says float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. Because one of the things I love about Muhammad Ali was he was such a wordsmith. He had so many cool sayings. I bought another t-shirt. I bought 2 t-shirts.
You bought 2 t-shirts.
The other one is...
I wasn't going to let you get away with just convincing that you only bought 1 t-shirt. You are accountable for 2 t-shirts.
I am accountable. And it says, if you even dream of beating me, you better wake up and apologize. Ooh. But that happens for me, and I feel motivated, right? So the curiosity that I feel is newness. Mm-hmm. Then it sets off pew-pews, but then that feeds into a sense of inspiration and a sense of motivation to keep doing more things. Mm-hmm. And I would argue from my experience, it also leads into identity. It leads into belonging. Like when we talk about motivation, it is that idea of like the odds of me wearing that shirt on a day when I need to feel a bit like a bad flu is high, right? Like that will be a shirt that I will put on and it will give me a little bit of a burst because I will be like, I was with Heather that day and we were having an amazing day. We gave a great speech. We had so much fun and Muhammad Ali is great and I feel like a bad flu.
And then you can, in fact, float like a butterfly
and sting like a bee. Yeah, I'm so mean I make medicine sick. Okay, anyway, there will be a number of Muhammad Ali links in but that is the dummies version, right?
That's the dummies version, yeah. And something else is happening too.
Tell me.
And this is something I observed. So you were so into it the moment we walked through those doors that I thought, oh, well, she must have had this on her Louisville list.
Yeah.
You just lit up like a Christmas tree. Your eyes were sparkling. You were smiling. You were so involved in everything. So what made you feel that way? Why did that all of a sudden flood over you?
Well, so I would say that this, though, is me, right? Like, I would say that it is probably, I feel like you're trying to lead me down a hippocampus highway, if I'm being honest. We've been doing this show long enough that
Not leading you anywhere.
but I feel like for me, when that moment happens, where it's like I'm in something new, I'm experiencing something new, it is for me just one of the most exciting things. It's like when I'm having a conversation with someone. We met this really cool guy today who I didn't know was internet famous. I'd never heard of him before, but he's the Hammer. You think you might have seen his ads.
I was going to say, I lived in Lexington, Kentucky nearly 20 years ago.
But
briefly recognized him, but didn't really know that much about him.
Yeah. And so he owns WeWin.com, which is like a great own. He's like a massive personal injury lawyer, which you probably have a perception of, right? He was in a viral Super Bowl ad, but he got up and he spoke about vulnerability and humility and service. And I had a pew, 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 pew of, oh, I'm so excited to get to know him. I want to have myself. I was literally, you better have your camera ready because I'm going to go get my picture taken with him. And like, I don't do that very, like with people. I'm not like a fangirl.
No, if it's with dogs, that's a different story.
It is so a different story.
Dogs, animal statues, yes. Melanie's pulling over, taking a picture immediately, and it's going to require some time.
We were once,
not normally with humans.
We were once on the phone together, and I pulled over, and I said, "I'm sorry, I have to pull over," and I got out of the car to say hi to a puppy. I'm so excited. So you asked me what's happening. I don't know. Why do I get excited so much? I think I get excited more than the average person.
I think you do too.
Why?
Individual differences. You have a different threshold in neurotransmitters than, let's say, the average bear, right? Because there are some people who their level of excitement is like, a baseline ho-hum humming along down here. Yours is probably up here.
Huh.
And so just like we have individual differences in height, weight, hair color, eye color, all of these other biological factors, we have differences in levels of neurotransmitters and hormones that kind of affect our personalities and how excited we get about things and how we interact with the world.
When I was watching you take a picture of that historical plaque, true fact, and I used to have this rule that she didn't know. I'm telling all of you first. I used to get so upset when any of my team would try to take shots of signs.
Oh, you do have a sign rule.
I have a sign rule. Yeah. And so, but it's different. And I have a friend who loves, like in London, they have the blue plaques. And she's like obsessed. Like she loves reading them. She loves plaques. And so when I saw you,
are definitely going to have to go.
I know. And I was thinking,
yes,
I was like, you two would have been in heaven. I would not have been like, she would not have shoved the walking map tour map out of your face, like out of my face. Like she would have been like, yes, Heather, let's read this together. Like,
and then go on the walking tour.
And then you would have been on the walking tour. Yeah. But it is interesting differences. And I mean, but I do think it's a personality trait. It is a personality trait that I think can be cultivated, but I do think what you said there about how it is somewhat intrinsic or not. I think there is a certain amount of intrinsicness. I think there are also cultural differences about how curious you're allowed to be. I remember being trying to check in for a flight in Baghdad. And I feel like I have a lot of Iraq stories that are like this. But I checking in for this flight in Baghdad, and these women, it was like 6:30 in the morning, and these three women are like looking at my passport, and they're like, "So your husband?" I was like, "No." They're like, "Your children?" And like just right in there. And then they got into a spirited and curious debate about whether or not it was too late for me.
While you're trying to check into a flight
at 6:30 in the morning.
You're just trying to get on a plane.
But they were really curious. They were like, but
Yeah.
how? But what happened? And like the idea of like being able to dig in really deep, right? To ask very personal questions like, so what happened? Would you be open? Would you like? And then I will say 2 out of 3 of them thought it wasn't too late. One was like, well,
But had you had your coffee at this point?
no.
Oh, oof.
I was fine because I mean I was so used to it, that level of like really, whereas in like lots of other places that would be so personal, like you can't be that curious. But I often cannot stop myself. And
I'm
but
shocked.
it's gotten me really far. Like better to beg forgiveness than ask permission. But it's not like it's interesting. We turn like from excitement into curiosity. They're really linked, right?
They're really linked. They kind of fuel each other, because being excited leads to curiosity, but also being curious and finding and seeking answers. It's the same to your brain as when you like solve a puzzle and you get that last piece into place, and you get that sense of completion, like accomplishment, like you did something. It's that. So they feed each other.
One thing I wonder about is what do you do if you are working with people or, you know, whatever, living with them, but especially when we're working with people who don't have that.
The great thing about curiosity is it's not a personality trait, it's a skill. And when we think about a skill, it's something that's learnable. And with people who maybe have had that tampened down in their life to some degree, we can just start by asking questions with them. Hey, what do you think that guy is doing over there? What do you think would happen if I mixed these 2 ingredients and added them to the pasta dish?
Yeah, although I would say to you that I am someone who tries to encourage curiosity in a lot of people, and sometimes asking questions of people like that can just go very wrong. Because people are like I have gotten a lot of deadpan looks in my life.
Okay.
I agree with you. I agree with you on the basis of I think it's like, you know, like I'm never going to be a world champion figure skater, but can I learn to skate? Yes.
Absolutely.
And so I think it's probably the same. I think when we talk about these things as skills, other people may never be quite as good at being excited and observing and asking questions. Like it is something like I am champion at it. Like I really am. However, yes, I think you can learn to ask questions. I think you can learn to feel what tickles your brain.
Yeah,
Like
and
that is part of it. I think actually being aware of like we met this guy today who was talking about how he felt like he'd found his world, right? And I thought that was so lovely. And how like and somebody else was saying, oh, like, and when you actually let yourself be like, oh, this is the thing I like. Like I like historical science. You love data.
Tell me about it.
Bourbon and spreadsheets.
Yeah, bourbon and spreadsheets are, I mean, that's my idea of a great Friday evening.
Disney and Madonna.
Oh, fantastic.
Okay, like, see, do I know my girl? I know my girl. I know my girl. Cats.
Yeah. We're both excited by cats.
We are both. We
did semi-stock an outdoor cat today.
We did. Yeah,
He was very handsome.
He was very handsome. He did not respond to our entreaties.
He was not interested in us
No, not at all. He was not excited by us.
We tried to kitty and he wasn't following.
Do you know that whole curiosity kills the cat thing? This cat was fine. He was alive.
This cat was not at all curious about us, but we were curious about him and he wasn't happy.
We are but so there's like different there's different elements. One element that I find really interesting about curiosity and about excitement is that I do think there's resonance between people about. So when like I am more interested in spreadsheets when I am around you because you are really excited by them.
Yeah.
Like genuinely.
I am.
And like your brain is being tickled. Like her brain gets tickled so much. I don't know if you feel the same way about like what's something I'm interested in that's not your thing.
Well, one of the things I think that's fascinating is just how skilled you are at all of this video stuff, editing, all of that. And when I hear you talk about it and I see you do it, it's like watching Da Vinci work on a work of art, and it's so interesting to me and fascinating. And it's not something that it's not something I'm skilled at for sure. And it's not something I choose to spend extra time on that. But when I see you doing that kind of stuff, I get excited and I want to learn more about it.
So I find this really fascinating because I think that is like, that makes me, to me, that is like stuff that's different. I think that's what I love. Is she was so diplomatic, overly flattery, very sweet, and so diplomatic. She didn't pick any of the things where she's like, oh. I'm really trying with spreadsheets, but it's like,
you don't have to love spreadsheets.
No, but it's, but, or if you're at a talk that is given by someone who is like deeply compelled by it, you know, I never cared about the physics of time until I heard somebody talk about how gravity and time were related.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I am not personally smart enough to really understand that, but I went out and bought Carlos Rovelli's book afterwards, after I heard someone speak about it, because they were so impassioned. They were so excited. Like it was, and you connect to that.
And I remember when you went out and bought that book because you called me and told me about that talk you went to.
So what is the connection that happens between people?
So there are a couple of things that are happening here. When it's someone you're close with, like you and I are good friends, then there's that warmth and that compassion and that social bonding that can help glue people closer together when you express interest in something somebody else is passionate about. And then with someone who's a complete stranger, like the physics and time talk that you saw, there's something contagious about watching somebody who's excited do their thing.
Yes.
And your brain almost switches into a mode where it thinks, well, this person's really excited. What am I missing out on? And it wants to know. And then curiosity happens.
One moment, it looks like we might have been unplugged, but I am working on it, folks.
It looks like your voice is still resonating, though.
It does look like the voice is still resonating, but it does look like the camera has gone offline. One moment, please, folks. That's because our mic is going through a different... One moment, folks. I just want to see. We'll get there.
During this pause...
Yes, we are still live.
We're here.
We are live on the air, everybody. Just need to...
And I'm curious right now about a lot of things.
Well, tell me what you're curious about, and I'll tell you what I'm doing.
Yeah, I'm really curious about why the camera went offline. And
yeah, it's a good question. It's a good question. So one of the things that's interesting is we decided to do this show with a new camera, a DJI Osmo that Dr. Heather bought.
Looking for sponsors.
I respect your game. And as part of that, it is, and as part of that, we thought we would try it just to see, right, what it was like.
Because we're curious and we like
Because
running
we're curious.
experiments.
We do like running
learning
experiments.
Things.
And it is always interesting. So it's our first time using it. And my excitement, originally I was like, oh, I don't know. But then I was like, nah, you're excited about this kit. We're going to make it work. There we go. Ha ha. But I will tell you, we're back on a different camera. So, hey, everybody.
Hey, we're back.
On a different camera. So, anyway, so it's still an experiment. It's just a different kind of experiment.
We love experiments.
So what is it that happens when I am watching a personal injury lawyer talk about personal injury law and jury work? And what happens then? What is happening brain-wise?
You saw him, how excited he was.
Yeah.
You also felt, I think, both sympathy and empathy. He brought the personal into the room when he was talking about personal injury law. And when people are vulnerable like that, then we tend to feel like we're more closely bonded to them and we're more invested in what they have to say.
Is that, guys, you know what I'm going to do?
Uh-oh.
I'm just going to throw out some brain stuff and see if it makes any sense. You know why? Because everyone else is doing it. Why not me?
And I'm going to talk about global conflict.
Oh my gosh, let's do it. Mirror neurons?
It could be. But really, more than anything, it's also just a social network that's pretty complex in your brain that is responsible for identifying emotional bonds and connections with other people. And in fact, one of the oldest, most antiquated kind of social interactions we have with people is to judge whether they're part of our in-group or our out-group, according to social psychological research. And that helps us empathize with them. And so you're evaluating, like, is this guy part of my team or is this guy a different team? And he was so compelling. He was really good at bringing us on his team.
But then what is a mirror neuron?
So mirror neurons occur as kind of another form of social bonding when we have neurons in our brains that activate in response to seeing somebody do something specific. So you might find right now that you want to scratch your head a little bit, and those are your mirror neurons activating.
Does it have to be physical?
It does not have to be physical. Physical is one of the most obvious signs, but it certainly doesn't have to be physical.
So can it be excitement? You really don't like this. You're like, no, you are wrong. You just tell me I'm wrong if I'm wrong.
So it possibly could be.
And that, my friends, is Dr. Heather for You're Wrong. Well, but that's why I was saying, though, is it because it's a response to other people, right? They're a response to other people.
It's a response to other people, yeah. Is it specific to excitement? Right now, I'm going through the Rolodex of research studies in my brain, and I can't think of one specifically.
Oh, I see. So that's why we're doing it possibly could be. Okay, I got you.
That's why we're doing the possible.
Oh, wait, but I think I'm just meaning it about kind of, okay, so about anything. Because I have experienced, I feel like I'm always like, oh, another revolution I was at. But
another war story.
You get to talk about global
conflict.
One time
I was in Gambia.
Do you know what? I've never been to the Gambia. It's actually the Gambia, but I've never been there.
Well, we should fix that.
Yeah, but the point being that it is one of those things where I have been in these places and you see it, you can almost feel it spread like a Mexican wave in a stadium.
Ooh.
From street to street, where you will get people chanting, it's like a chant called like Al-Thawra if you're in the Middle East. It ends up translating, if you do the whole thing, to the people want the fall of the regime. Ooh. And so if you get a couple of people who are really worked up about wanting the fall of the regime at the front, it will translate back like a wave where it starts to build and build. And you might get people who are like, I'm going to buy some tomatoes. And all of a sudden they're like, you know what? I also want the fall of the regime.
Revolution's a great idea.
Yeah. Stop bitching. Start a revolution.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. And so I'm always fascinated by that experience. So I'm curious what it is. Like when that happens, it's always been this really deep experience for me of resonance, which I find really interesting. And that is like, it is excitement. And that is where sometimes it can turn into riots or it can turn violent. It can turn to something darker, but mostly it is just about it spreading. It's about the ability to spread it. Mm-hmm. And then what you were saying, to bring it back to the very beginning as we come towards the end of this, is that you can spread this to other people and you can drive it towards actual action.
You can't things. Excitement is socially contagious and can propagate a revolution.
Yeah.
And once we see that somebody else is doing something, somebody's on the next street over calling for a new regime.
Yeah.
Then that gives us social permission and actually in our brains decreases the risk involved in it.
So we're allowed to be excited then?
We're allowed to be excited. If you're excited, I'm allowed to be excited. So
when we went, I just want to say that it wasn't just me buying t-shirts. We also went to a bourbon-chocolate store on the way back. So was the fact that I was excited, even though I'm a non-drinker, did that give you permission to be excited about bourbon chocolates? To bring it back to a more relatable example, maybe than the fall
Or
of the
is
regime.
it that I am intrinsically excited and motivated by bourbon and chocolate? I mean, could there be a better pairing? Did that give you permission to be excited? Which way did it go?
Whoa, she's blowing my mind once again, my friends. Do you know what's funny? I wonder which one it was. I think I was excited by finding something for you to be excited about.
I think that's true because actually I wasn't going to go in that shop and then you were like, look what we have, bourbon and chocolate. And you opened the door and escorted me in.
Is that what happened?
It is.
Oh,
yes.
I just wanted you to be excited.
It was fantastic.
I think I wanted you to have the experience that I had had.
You did. That was very generous of you as a friend.
But is that, or was that pew pew pew? Was I dopamine squirting? I wanted you to dopamine squirt too.
Absolutely.
Oh my God, it's all dopamine squirts.
Taking pleasure in the joy of somebody else.
Oh, well, I wouldn't say that. I just meant like, is it like a different form of, anyway, we're getting very deep. We're getting into the weeds. Okay, let's bring this back.
Let's bring it back.
Let's bring this whole baby back.
So, Muhammad Ali.
So, that's not bringing it back, nor a segue. Bringing it back, excitement is something that is founded in our brain's love and joy, really, when it finds novelty, how it sets off lots of different parts of our brain. And that is like pew, pew, pew. And it's based then also on curiosity, which then can drive motivation for us to do more, baby. How do you like it? How do you like it? To quote Evelyn Champagne King, I believe.
This is going to be the textbook definition from now on.
What? But that's where we started with this. And what I think we learned, I think the biggest takeaway for me from hearing you, I mean, you did a lot of heavy science in this one, which
a little bit early too.
You did a lot of heavy science, which is, I think, really useful for people who are like, is there any like point? Is it okay that I'm excited? Is it okay that I'm curious? And it's like, yes, right? So my takeaway is yes, like your excitement and your curiosity is a way of you being alive and engaged with the world. It is a way of you learning. It is a way of you connecting with other people. And the more that you open up to that possibility, the more you engage with that, I mean, who knows what can come from it? You might gain a super awesome friend. You might get some great t-shirts.
You deserve the joy and the dopamine that comes with excitement and curiosity.
What are you going to take away from this conversation?
Well, I love the social contagion of excitement and curiosity. And if we can not only ignite that in ourselves, but others, then that's a great step to making the world a better place. What about you? What are you taking away?
Well, and to the downfall of the regime.
And to the downfall of the regime.
Yeah. I got my takeaways in already. I feel great about this. I'm happy to leave it here. And I just want to thank the Innovate Summit for having us.
It's been a pleasure. It's been so interesting getting to know these people who are all here to learn new things.
Oh yeah, excited and curious, just like us. And we are going to record a show in, hopefully, the zoo tomorrow. Speaking of things I'm crazily excited about. But that will be coming to you next week. And sorry about the super excitement. And if you were excited by what you saw, please like, follow, subscribe, and drop a comment. Let us know what you want to know about. Let us know what you were excited by today. What's one thing you saw where you were like, what's that guy doing? And we'll reward you with a novelty pick that we took here in Louisville.
Absolutely.
Anyway, but until then, it is...
What is she thinking?
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.